Okay, let's say the blessing. Praise the you, Adonai God, King of the universe, gives the Torah of truth and the good news of salvation to his people Israel and to all the peoples through his Son Yeshua, the Messiah, our Lord. Amen.
Amen.
Right. So today, class, we'll be doing covenants. Yay. So what is a covenant? It's a promise.
It's an agreement.
Yeah, it's a promise, it's an agreement. Give me an example of a modern day contract. Covenant. Who said marriage? 10 points.
Out of 100.
Okay, gotta get to 100. Okay, so a covenant is literally, it's a legally binding contract between two parties. Today it's 2 or more parties, or 3 or 4, it depends. But it comes from the Hebrew word. What's the New Testament called in Hebrew? Brit Chadashah. So the Hebrew word for covenant is Brit. Berit. But every time we mention it, every time it's mentioned in the Bible, it's Karat Berit, which means to cut a covenant. We're going to get to that. So you can think of it as Karat Berit. Okay? Well, Abraham's covenant is pretty symbolic of that. So, why do we say to cut a covenant? That's a brit milah. Okay? Yeah? Okay, right. You see that at Sinai to cut into the stone, but in biblical understanding of the people at the time, what did they do?
They cut an animal in half
Right.
and they walked through it and through the
Right. Okay, and circumcision, so that sort of forms part of the sign of one of the covenants. But to cut a covenant comes from an ancient understanding and an ancient practice. To cut a covenant, people, when they made a covenant together, they would take the best of their flock, they would cut it in half, lovely image, stick it on 2 hills, let the blood run down, and they'd walk between the blood, in the blood. And if they didn't, if one of the parties didn't keep the covenant stipulations, the other would say, I will make you like that. You will become like that if you do not keep the covenant. Cut in half. How do we know that? Where do we have any proof of that? Yeah, it's written in there, cut the covenant. But also if you go to Jeremiah 34, 18 to 20, let me read it for you quickly. Guys, I'm going to move quite quickly because we've got a lot to get through. I'm going to try and get through all the covenants except the new covenant today, and that's a lot to get through. Okay, so Jeremiah 34, verse 18. It says, as for the men who violated my covenant by not living up to the conditions of the covenant which they made in my presence, when they cut the calf in 2 and passed between its parts, the leaders of Judah, the leaders of Yushan, the officials, the Kohanim, and all the people of the land, passed between the parts of the calf, I will hand them over to the enemies, hand them over to those who seek their lives, and their corpses will become food for the birds and air for the wild animals. He's basically saying, if you don't keep the covenant, this is the general understanding of the people at that time. If you don't keep the covenant, you become like the animals that we cut in half. Lovely, right? It's a bit harsh. But it's the understanding that that's what they understood. Covenant is serious business. You don't mess with covenant. Okay? That's how serious it is to them. So, this brings us to a covenant format. And what we find, both believers and non-believers alike, they agree to this. Okay? Deuteronomy was written in the ancient covenant form. Does anyone know what that was? Suzerainty Treaty. Sorry, my eyes look like yours. That was the general format of a contract back then. And the entire Deuteronomy is actually made up just like a suzerainty treaty. So the suzerainty treaty basically says there's a suzerain and a vassal state. There's a king and a vassal state. The king will protect the vassal state, this is us, and we need to live up and have faith in the covenant and require protection, provision, etc. King looks after his people. There's a suzerainty treaty in place. Normally this would happen when the king goes and takes over a city and then they put a suzerainty treaty in place. He says to them, don't worry, I'm going to look after you. I've got my stipulations. I'm going to give you some promises. But at the same time, you guys have stipulations and you guys need to do certain things. This is a suzerainty treaty. So, I'm going to show you how Deuteronomy was broken up. In the Suzerainty Treaty versus Deuteronomy, the first part, which is the preamble, is Deuteronomy 1:1-5. And in the Suzerainty Treaty, it describes the nature of the king. We're not going to go through this, there's a lot, Deuteronomy is quite long. So I'm just giving you the background and the structure. You guys can go through it and you can have a look and see if I'm talking nonsense or not, but I've done it. It makes sense. The next part is the acts of the king. And we see this in the historical prologue. Deuteronomy 1:6-4:49. Quite a long historical prologue. What God did, how He brought them out, what He's doing for them. History, how we got to this point, basically. The next part is the covenant expectations. And we see this in the stipulations. Excuse my scribble. And that's in 5 verse 1 to 26:19. Lots of stipulations. Good contract has stipulations. You are not allowed to do this. You are allowed to do that. Do not and do. Stipulations. Pretty much the Torah. Okay? Nice big part. Next part is the consequences. Tell me, in your marriage, if you do naughty things, do you think there's going to be consequence? Right. You probably, if you do naughty things, you break the stipulations, and therefore there must come consequences. So we have blessings and curses. So it's consequences and you can say blessings.
Benefits.
And benefits, yeah. So yeah.
Benefits of marriage, would you like to?
He gets a lift.
Yeah, you get to live after life. So, yeah. This is Deuteronomy 27-30. Have a look at it. Okay, and then obviously in a contract, you need witnesses. Okay, and over here we have one verse where it's 30 verse 19, where heaven and earth is the witness against the people.
Wow.
Okay? And then you have the continuation of the treaty. So what happens when certain things change or whatever the case is? We have literally the succession plan. So when God gave this covenant to the people, He specifically got Moses to sort of sort this out for him. There had to be a succession plan when Moses disappeared. Right? What was his succession plan? Right. Okay? And then you have the storage of the contract. Or the public renewal. So every now and again, every year, they would go and read the contract again to remind everyone what you signed up for. And over here you'll have Deuteronomy 31, 9 to 13.
Sorry, the public renewal is anything allowed to change?
No, well, I suppose when the Suzerainty Treaty you could, but in terms of the covenant that God made with the people, it was pretty much signed, sealed, and delivered, and that's it. I want to make an important note here. The covenant is not Torah. The covenant is the agreement to keep Torah. But the covenant comes with a lot of other stuff. Okay? It's important to understand this because in order for us to understand the new covenant, we need to understand every covenant that came before it. Because by God's will, hopefully I can show you today that the covenants don't cancel each other out. They layer upon each other. Starting with first covenant Noah, all the way down to new covenant. We're not going to do new covenant today because that's an entire session in itself. But what I'm going to try to do is get through all the covenants up until the new covenant so that you can understand each block along the way. Okay? Let me know when you're done with this. So you can have it all. Another thing about a covenant, when you have a covenant like this, there needs to be a sign. So in terms of the marriage covenant, today we have the ring. That's the sign that we are married. Every covenant comes with a sign. We're going to go through those as well. Generally as well, after a covenant is made, there's a meal. If you think of Sinai, what happened with Moshe and Aaron and the 70 leaders? They went up and had a meal with God after the covenant was put into place. Abraham and Abimelech had a meal. Jacob and Laban, meal. Okay?
Breaking bread.
Breaking bread. And what does that symbolize in ancient Christianity? You guys are friends. Okay, a covenant is actually, if you ever look at some of the New Testament scriptures, I don't write them down, I can't remember them, but it actually says a friend of the covenant, you become a friend. Okay, so if you go into covenant with each other, technically you're supposed to be friends, you're supposed to agree to that covenant, and then there's a sign between you, you have a meal together, because when you break bread, it's symbolic of you being acceptance of each other. There's no hardships, there's no anger. You have that meal and you move forward, and obviously terms and conditions as well. So, everyone with me so far? Now we get to the fun stuff. Has everyone got this? Can I wrap it off? Okay, so first covenant, what is it? That's the rainbow covenant.
Can I ask a question? If Noah is supposed to be the first covenant, why is Adam and Eve not considered the first covenant?
It is a covenant, but in terms of this lesson, we're going to start with Noah. Adam and Eve has the reading of the covenant, but I don't want to confuse, I want to just get to Noah and I want to start building up. Okay, so first covenant was essentially what we're going to start off with. Noah. Okay, we can read about this in Genesis 18, Genesis 8, 14 to 9, 17. Now, I'm going to read some of all of these covenants just so you can have a nice understanding and get the word. I'm going to be quite quick, just stop me if you need me to slow down. Genesis 8, verse 14. It was on the 27th day of the second month that the earth was dry. Can I use what happened before that? What happened before the earth was dry? Blood. Okay. Well done. 10 points for the God said to Noah, go out from the ark, you, your wife, your sons, and your sons' wives with you. Bring out with you every living thing you have with you, birds, livestock, every animal that creeps on the earth, so that they can swarm on the earth, be fruitful, and multiply on the earth. So Noah went out with his sons, his wives, and his sons' wives, every animal, every creeping thing, and every bird. Noah built an altar to Adonai that he took from every clean animal and every clean bird, and he offered burnt offerings on the altar. So he knew already the difference between clean and unclean. Okay, I give you a hint already that he knew the Torah. Adonai smelled the sweet aroma, and Adonai said in his heart, I will never again curse the ground because of humankind, since the imaginings of a person's heart are evil from his youth. This is going to take us to New Covenant again. Nor will I ever again destroy all living things as I've done, so long as the earth exists. Sowing time and harvest, cold and heat, summer and winter, and day and night will not cease. And he carried on, and he says in verse 9, verse 15, I will remember my covenant which is between myself and you, and every living creature of any kind. So it's a covenant for man, and it's also a covenant for every creature. And the water will never again become a flood to destroy all living things. The rainbow will be in the cloud, so that when I look at it, I will remember the everlasting covenant between God and every living creature of any kind on the earth. Okay, let's start there. Everlasting. Does that give you the impression that it lasts for a point and then stops? It gives you the impression that it's everlasting forever. Right? Okay? So, this is the covenant, and we have terms and conditions. And then we have sort of promises. What were the promises here? Mumble. Yeah. To not destroy the earth.
no, destroy earth with flood.
It doesn't include localized flood.
Doesn't include?
Localized flood.
Yes. Not to destroy the entire earth with a flood. Okay? And also to be fruitful and multiply, benefits of marriage. Okay? And you can eat animals, basically. Terms and conditions, there were a few. I'm just going to give you a few. Forbidden to consume blood or eat meat with blood still in it. Do not kill, and you can have dominion over the animals. A couple of others. But this is the foundation of the covenant that we're going to move forward with. Okay? So you can read about that in there. We don't have time for that. So here's our first foundation. Noah. Keep that in the back of your mind. Yes? Sign. Sign. Thank you. What was the sign? Rainbow. Okay. Okay. Next covenant. It's a big one. Go to Genesis 12 for me. Genesis 12. Who are we talking about? When God made the covenant with Abraham, what was his name? Abraham. What does that mean? Exalted father. In Genesis 17, I think we see he changes his name to Abraham, which means father of many nations. That was one of the promises that came with the covenant that God made with Abraham. Okay? If you read these, we're going to read a little bit of each one. You'll understand the covenant talk. It says here, now Adonai said to Abram, get yourself out of your country, away from your kinsmen and away from your father's house, and go to the land that I will show you. I will make of you a great nation. I will bless you and I will make your name great, and you are to be a blessing. So here are some promises already. I will bless those who bless you, but I will curse anyone who curses you, and by you all the families of the earth will be blessed. Nice promise, huh? All the families of the earth will be blessed. So Abram went as Adonai had said to him, and Lot went with him. Abram was 75 years old. Abram took his wife Sarah, Sarai, and as it goes, they entered the land of Canaan. He passed through. God spoke to him. We go to Genesis 15. In 14, we see Melchizedek, which is for another day. In Genesis 15, sometime later, the word of Adonai came to Abram in a vision. Don't be afraid, Abram. I am your protector. Covenant speak. Protector. Okay? I am your protector. Your reward will be very great. Abram replied, Adonai God, what good will your gifts be to me if I continue childless? And Eliezer from Damascus inherits my possessions. That was his head of servants. You haven't given me a child, Abram continued, so someone born in my house will be my heir. But the word of Adonai came to him. This man will not be your heir. No, your heir will be a child from your own body. Then he brought himself outside and said, look up at the sky and count the stars. If you can count them, your descendants will be that many. Promised. He believed in Adonai, takes faith, and he credited it to him as righteousness. Then he said to him, I'm Adonai who brought you out from Ur-Kasdim to give you this land as your possession. He replied, Adonai God, how am I to know that I'll possess it? He answered, bring me a 3-year-old cow or 3 cows, depending on how the Hebrew is worked. A 3-year-old female goat, a 3-year-old ram, a dove, and a young pigeon. Now we're coming to the karat rit. Okay? He brought him all of these, cut the animals in two, and placed the pieces opposite each other, but he didn't cut the birds in half. Birds of prey swooped down on the carcasses, but Abram drove them away. So Abram was sitting there waiting. We need 2 people for a covenant. So far it's Abram. As the sun was about to set, a deep sleep fell on Abram. Horror and great darkness came over him. Adonai said to Abram, know this for certain. Your descendants will be foreigners in a land that is not theirs. So he's already giving him a vision of the future of what? For 400 years, it says here. They will be slaves and held in oppression there for 400 years, but I will also judge that nation, the one that makes them slaves. Afterwards they will leave with many possessions. As for you, you will join your ancestors in peace and be buried at a good old age. Only in the 4th generation will your descendants come back here, because only then will the Emorite be ripe for punishment. Now listen to this. After the sun had set, and there was a thick darkness. A smoking fire pot and a flaming torch appeared, which passed between these animals. That day Adonai made a covenant with Avram. I have given this land to your descendants, from the Valley of Egypt to the great river, the Euphrates River, the territory of the Kenite, the Kizah, the Kadmoni, the Hittite, the Perizzite, the Rephaim, the Amorite, the Canaanite, and the Girgashi, and the Yebusi. In the beginning I said, when they made covenants, they cut the animals in half, and they both walked through the blood. Avram didn't. God put him to sleep. God, in the form of a smoking fire pot and a flaming torch, which is going to be a foreshadow of Yeshua, went through and made that covenant for him. It's a beautiful image. God loved Abraham so much that he said, right, I'm going to do this for you. I'm going to set up this covenant for you, because this is the covenant that pretty much everything is going to fall back on. Is that Abraham? Okay? This is the covenant that everything is going to fall back on. When things start failing at the top here, we roll back down and we get to the covenant where I don't cut you in half, basically. Where Abraham had so much faith that God took away the consequence of that for our benefit.
I think God knew that he couldn't keep it because he was just a man.
Alright, but it was more out of love, in my opinion, than anything else, because we needed something. We needed something to fall back on. Okay? And you'll see this as we progress. You'll see how the Israelites kept on doing this. Breaking, starting covenant, breaking covenant, getting back in, breaking covenant, getting back in, breaking covenant, until new covenant, which we'll touch on that. Okay? So Genesis 17. You'll see that if you read this passage, was there anything, don't worry about Genesis 17 right now, we need to move on. Was there anything that mentioned we're going to cancel Noah's covenant? Okay. This was also called an everlasting covenant. So we have everlasting, everlasting. What was the blessings here with Abraham's covenant?
All the nations will be blessed in you.
All families will be blessed.
They'll have descendants on there. From your body.
Say again?
Many descendants from your body.
Any descendants?
The land of their descendants.
Yeah, what else?
The land of your descendants.
He's going to bless Abraham. He's going to make Abraham's name great. He's going to make Abraham a blessing to others. God will bless those who bless Abraham, and curse those who curse, and all the peoples on the earth will be blessed through you. He's going to make Abraham a great nation and lots of blessing. Plenty of blessing. Okay? What did Abraham have to do to get to that point?
Well, don't believe, that's all.
He had to leave a place filled with gods. It was called Ur of the Kasdim. He had to leave. He had to have faith. I don't know about you, but you know, when an invisible thing comes to you and speaks to you and says, you will leave everything you know, and you'll go to a land that you don't know, to a place that's probably dangerous. You will go down there and then I'll bless you. It takes a lot of faith to walk through with it. That's why it says, his faith was credited to him as righteousness. And that gets brought up a lot in New Testament scripture.
Can I just make a mention? All the covenants involve cutting something. The Noah covenant involved cutting life into 7 parts.
Cutting line. That's nice. Never thought of it like that. Okay. Let's go to, someone go to James 2. Vanessa. Yeah, okay, never mind. James 2:21 to 24. Listen to this. Wasn't Abraham Avinu declared righteous because of actions when he offered up his son Yitzhak on the altar? You see that his faith worked with his actions. By the actions, the faith was made complete. And the passage of the Tanakh, Old Testament, was fulfilled, which says, Abraham had faith in God, and it was credited to his account as righteousness. He was even called God's friend. You see that a person is declared righteous because of actions and not because of faith alone. faith leads you into obedience. Abraham had to believe first before he decided to leave and go to Canaan. You can believe, but there's also got to be something in your walk that shows your faith. Faith is nothing without obedience. Okay? Any questions about Abraham? John 2, verse 21 to 24. James 2, verse 21 to 24. I keep forgetting the sign.
Which is like, what's the whole thing? I won't draw a picture of this one.
Circumcision. This is a family-friendly environment. Right, listen to this. Oh, that's why I want to go to 17. God said to Abraham, as for Sarai your wife, you are not, I'm at 17 verse 15. As for Sarai your wife, you are not to call her Sarai, which means mockery. Her name is to be Sarah, which means princess. I will bless her. Moreover, I will give you a son by her. Truly I will bless her. She will be a mother of nations. Kings of people will come from her. Again, that goes back to Abraham, the promise, through your seed. Okay? At this, Abraham fell on his face and laughed. He thought to himself, will a child be born to a man 100 years old? Will Sarah give birth at 90? Abraham said to God, if only Ishmael could live in your presence. God answered, no, but Sarah your wife will bear a son. And you are to call him Yitzchak, which means laughter, because Abraham laughed. I will establish my covenant with him and as an everlasting covenant with his descendants after him, everlasting. But as for Ishmael, I've heard you, I've blessed him, I'll make him fruitful and give him many descendants. This is true to this day. He will father 12 princes, and I will make him a great nation, but I will establish my covenant with Yitzchak. The next one is Isaac. Okay? He carries on here. Whom Sarah will bear to you at this time next year. With that, God finished speaking with Abram and went up from him. Abram took Ishmael his son, all the slaves born in the house, and all who had been brought with his money, every male among the people of Abram's household, and circumcised the flesh of their foreskin that very day, just as God said to him. Abram was 99 years old, but he circumcised in the flesh of his foreskin. Ishmael his son was 13. He circumcised the flesh of his foreskin. Abram and Ishmael his son were circumcised on the same day. All the men in the household, both slaves and foreigner, were circumcised. That's the sign for the covenant. It says, through your circumcision. Why? Why there? What's the importance of that specific sign?
Because the seed will.
Right, it's the part where you make new creation, right? And then you with me. Yes. Through your seed, I will bless the nations. So he's saying something's going to come from you. I'm going to create Yitzchak. I'm going to bless Yitzchak. I'm going to create a covenant as well with Yitzchak. And it sort of sits in here, because it has the same sign. And through that, all the worlds will be blessed. All the families on the earth will be blessed. Okay? Which brings us to Isaac. Let's go to Genesis 26. I find this really beautiful that God goes to Abraham, the father, and then when the son starts looking, but only when he starts looking, God appears to Isaac and makes himself known to him. It's all good and well that us as parents have the faith and the obedience, but our kids need to take hold of that themselves. We can't force it on them. They need to take hold of it. They need to seek out God. And when Isaac did, God was there. You can't rely on your parents to have a relationship with God. There are many things that we don't like about our parents, right? Yes. The point is this. God, perfect. Have a relationship with God, He will never let you down. Have a relationship with man, I've let my kids down. I have. Everyone's parents have let them down. Do not base your faith and what your relationship should be like on what your relationship is like with your father. You will come short. Put that aside. Deal with that separately. Make right. Yeshua says, leave your offering at the altar and go make right brother or your man, your friend, your family. So make right, sort that out, make your heart right with man. Then you can have a relationship with God. Okay? Let's go to Genesis 26. The famine came over the land, not the same as the first famine. What was the first famine? Who was involved in the first famine? His father. Where did he go because of the famine of Abraham? Egypt. Funny how God brings him to the land, says, hey, I'm going to bless you, don't worry about it. And then a famine hits. And then he has to go down, physically go down, into a not nice place, physically and spiritually sent to Egypt. Through the famine, through hard times. But what happened after that? Pharaoh gave him stuff and said, go, leave. Abraham left, and he came back in with more than what he had. Okay? Spiritually and physically. Yitzchak went to Gerar, to Avimelech, king of the Philistines. Adonai appeared to him and said, don't go down into Egypt, but live where I tell you. Stay in this land, and I will be with you and bless you, because I will give all these lands to you and your descendants. Again, talking about land here. Land. Okay? I will give the land to you and your descendants. I will fulfill the oath which I swore to Abraham, your father. I will make your descendants as numerous as the stars in the sky. I will give all these lands to your descendants. It's the same promises. That by your descendants all the nations of the earth will bless themselves. All this because Abraham, he did what I said, listen to this, and did what I told him to do. He followed my mitzvot, my regulations, and my teachings. Obedience. So Yitzchak settled in Gerar. The men of the place asked him about his wife, and then we carry on. It's a similar story to what Abraham did. The man became rich and prospered more and more until he had become very wealthy. I'm at 14 now. He had flocks, cattle, and large household, and the Philistine envied him. Now the Philistine had stopped up and filled with dirt all the wells his father's servants had dug during the lifetime of Abraham his father. Abimelech said to Yitzchak, you must go away from us, because you have become much more powerful than we are. So Yitzchak left, set up camp in the Vadi Gerar, and lived there. Yitzchak reopened the wells which had been dug during the lifetime of Abraham his father, the ones the Philistine had stopped up after Abraham died, and called them by the names the father had used for them. Carries on, he named the wells, we're now 23. From there Yitzchak went up to Be'er Sheva. 7 oaths or 7 wells. Adonai appeared to him that same night and said, I am the God of Abraham your father. Don't be afraid, because I am with you. I will bless you, and I will increase your descendants for the sake of my servant Abraham. So Isaac's covenant is based on Abraham's covenant. Okay? There he built an altar and called on the name of Adonai. He pitched his tent there, and then Yitzchak's servants dug a well. So again, similar, God makes himself known. The terms and conditions work the same as the ones stipulated in there. Same sign. It would have been the same sign because it's the same covenant. Okay? Comes with the same promises. Then, Isaac has a son called Jacob and Esau. Genesis 28, let's start from verse 1. Alright. So Yitzchak called Yaakov, and after blessing him, charged him, you are not to choose a wife from the Hittite woman. Okay, now this is obviously at Yitzchak's deathbed. We just had the story of the blessings and Esau getting really upset because Jacob took his blessing. I'm not going to go into that today, but this happened straight after that story. Go now to the home of Bethuel, your mother's father, and choose a wife there from the daughters of Laban, your mother's brother. May El Shaddai bless you, make you fruitful, and increase your descendants until they become a whole assembly of peoples. He's remembering what God promised him. And may he give you the blessing which he gave Abraham, you and your descendants with you, so that you will possess the land, again, land you will travel through, the land God gave to Abraham. So Yitzchak sent Yaakov away, and he went to Padan Aram, to Lavan, son of Betuel, the Arami, the brother of Rivka, Yaakov and Esau, his mother. Now Esau saw that Yitzchak had blessed Yaakov and sent him away to Padan Aram to choose a wife from there, and that as he blessed him, he charged him, "You are not to choose a Canaanite woman as your wife." And that Yaakov had listened to his father and mother and gone to Padan Aram. Esau also saw that the Canaanite woman did not please Yitzchak his father. So Esau went to Ishmael and took, in addition to his wives he already had, Machalat, the daughter of Ishmael, Abraham's son and sister of Neviah, to be his wife. Oh, okay. He dishonored his father. I don't know about you, but there's some strict instructions, specifically in Exodus 20, about dishonoring your parents. The people known as Esau became Edom. Is Edom around today?
No.
No. He went specifically against his father at this point, Esau, to upset him. And today we don't have the Edomites. Verse 10, here's the covenant. Yaakov went out from Beersheba, again, Beersheba, and traveled toward Haran. He came to a certain place and stayed the night there because the sun had set. He took a stone from the place, put it under his head, and lay down there to sleep. He dreamed that there before him was a ladder resting on the ground, with its top reaching to heaven, and the angels of Adonai were going up and down on it. Then suddenly Adonai was standing there next to him, and he said, "I am Adonai, the God of Abraham, your grandfather, and the God of Yitzchak. The land on which you are lying, I will give to you and your descendants. Your descendants will be as numerous as the grains of dust on the earth. Will expand to the west and to the east, to the north and the south. All the families on the earth will be blessed." Same things happening. Same covenant. Okay? It's the same covenant. Those of you that keep in this here, Jacob. Isaac was Genesis 26, Genesis 28. Okay, that's the same thing, circumcision, same promises, same terms and conditions. Okay? Now, we get to Simon. So, what happened between Jacob and Simon? And someone just pointed out, Jacob had sons, right? 12. And one of them somehow managed to go down to Egypt. Who was that? Joseph. Okay? And did God predict all of this from happening? His sons going down, going to Egypt, getting enslaved. Long story short, Israelites land up in Egypt as slaves. Okay? And then they cry out. I'm not going into this, we'll do a little bit more of this with the feast of Passover. But the Israelites cry out as slaves. They don't really know who they're crying out to. They seem to have forgotten certain things. God reaches out with his outstretched arm, pulls them out, and takes them away. Let us read. Exodus 19, please. So I found some really nice links here. Exodus 19. From verse 1. In the third month, after the people of Israel had left the land of Egypt, the same day they came to the Sinai desert. After setting out from Rephidim and arriving at the Sinai desert, they set up camp in the desert. There in front of the mountain, Israel set up camp. Moshe went up to God, and Adonai God called him from the mountain. Here's what you are to say to the household of Jacob, to tell the people of Israel. Physical, spiritual. You have seen what I did to the Egyptians and how I carried you on eagle's wings and brought you out to myself. Marriage imagery happening right there. What does the husband do when he marries his wife? Scoops her up, takes her over the threshold. Yeah, and this is what's beautiful about this. God pulled them out, carried them on eagle's wings, over the threshold. And in biblical times, the door frame, okay? I'm not an artist. Pretend this is a door frame. It would have a little hole. And it was common practice that when you make a covenant with someone, in your house, you put blood in that little basin. And when you step over, you are saying, I'm going to keep this covenant. If you don't step over, you're basically saying, I want nothing to do with your covenant. God literally picked them up and pulled them over a threshold in marriage talk and wanted to make a covenant with them. Now, if you'll pay careful attention to what I say and keep my covenant, then you will be my own treasure from among all the peoples, for all the earth is mine, and you will be a kingdom of priests. Now, that word, treasure, in Hebrew is called segulah. This is something I found the other day and I thought it was amazing. God wants us to be His treasure. The word segulah literally means a prized possession. That's why some translations say peculiar treasure. The king at those times, whenever he had a prized possession, would take his segulah out and show everyone, look, and everyone would go, wow. That's what God wanted to do with us. He wants to do with us. If you break it down into paleo, because that's what we do. Samer, Himal, Lamed, and Hey. I'm not going to go into too much detail and give you too many, but Samer, the Paleo Hebrew is a thorn. Samer is a thorn. So it's to protect. The Gimal is a foot in Paleo Hebrew, so it's to gather. The Lamed is a shepherd's staff, so it's to teach or lead. Okay? And the Hay is a man up with open arms, and it's to reveal. So God wants us to be this. Okay? He wants us to be His prized possession. That's what He says. He wants to protect us, gather us, and teach us and lead us. To reveal something to us later. To reveal His heart. Something hidden. So that's a drash. When you look at the deeper meaning of what God is saying, He's saying He wants to gather. He wants to lead and protect and reveal Himself to you. You are called to be a kingdom of priests. You will be a kingdom of kohanim, a kingdom of priests. The paleo of that is, Shoni, a priest. Allow to reveal the egg. Your function should be to reveal God, God's character, the name, the function of God. We are called to be a kingdom of priests. This covenant basically says you will be my treasure, but you will be a kingdom of priests. You will function like a priest functions. You might not be a temple, you are the temple. But you are called to function as that, to show people God. Okay? This is what He's trying to do with them. They could have just gone to the promised land at this point. God needs to change them, change their hearts. And again, new covenants will come in later. So, the Sinai covenant comes with stipulations. This is Genesis 19 all the way to 24 and beyond. Okay? We're not going to read it now. Exodus. Thank you. Exodus 19 to 24 and even goes up to 31. This is laid out very much in covenant speak. If you read from 19 on, you're generally supposed to read it every time you go through Passover. You're going to want to read from 19 on. Exodus 20 adds the 10 commands, and then from there on it goes into Parashah Mishpatim, which means rulings, and he carries on. I want to point out something as well. The 10 commands, we're running out of time. The 10 commands, when God spoke out that cloud, and He gave the 10 commands, it was 10, and then the people said, whoa, stop the bus. please, you go speak. They're speaking to Moses. You go speak to God. We can't handle this because we will die. And they left and went back to their tents. Moses then spoke to God and got the rest of the commands. So you know. Okay? It didn't just stop there. It went on. And if you have a look, and you go all the way to Exodus 31, verse 13, it says here, tell the people of Israel, you are to observe my Shabbats. For this is a sign between me and you through all your generations, so that you will know that I am Adonai, who sets you apart for me. Who sets you apart for me. The priests were set apart. Okay? So the sign is what? Just say. The sign is Shabbat. I want to point out something. He said here, if you are not circumcised, okay, this is what he said to the people at that time. There is no covenant for you. The same rings true for Shabbat. God holds the signs very dearly and holds them high. The Shabbat is the sign between you and everyone else of the world that you are in covenant with God. You can't just have the sign and not the stipulations or the blessings or the curses. You can't just have this and forget about everything else. The sign comes with everything. Me putting this on shows you I'm married to Tam, shows you I'm not going to go be an idiot somewhere. There's blessings and curses with this. Okay? No one's going to come up to me and say, hey, no, not that they do. Because they see the sign, right? And the point is, if people see you keeping Shabbat, I'm not saying they'll show you other signs to other people. The point is, if you keep Shabbat, you are telling the world who you stand. And when your friends say to you, hey, let's go to a social or a club or a game expo or whatever the case is, or let's go party on Shabbat, and you stand there and you say no, and they go, why are you weird? Why you say no? And then you can say, right, let me tell you who I stand for and why I don't do this. That's your opening, right there. That's how you are set apart, so that you can reveal the heir to those people. And if you don't do that, and you just go with the flow, like we see them later going with the flow with the Canaanite woman and the Moabite woman, you are not set apart anymore. You become common. God wants you to be set apart. He wants you to be that treasure. There is no way He's going to hold you up if you are not set apart. He's not going to want to show you off. Hey, look at this guy. He's got a couple of stands in him, but it's fine. If you set yourself apart and your heart is right, and we're going to get to that with the new covenant. If your heart is right through Yeshua, through the Holy Spirit, the Ruach HaKodesh, we become more of that. We reveal more. Through our walk, through our obedience, and through our faith, do we reveal who we stand for. Don't just be like everyone else, doing what everyone else does, because that is not set apart. Okay? So,
What do you have to say for interesting thought about the dogs surrounding Yeshua, increasing dogs surrounding. What does this speak of dogs as being a bad thing? But that all of blood on the door. Dogs would lap up the blood and destroy the covenant sign.
that threshold was an important picture to them. I mean, if you look at Zephaniah 1 verse 9, it says to cross over a threshold and not hold to the highest laws of hospitality is to subject yourself to God's wrath. John 10 also says, most certainly I tell you, one who doesn't enter by the door into the sheepfold, but climbs up some other way, the same is a thief and a robber. But one who enters by the door is the shepherd of the sheep. The gatekeeper opens the gate for him, and the sheep listen to his voice. He calls his own sheep by name and leads them out. Threshold. Okay? That's Yeshua. We understand that to be Yeshua. But it's also got that threshold covenant built into it. That's what they understood. If you read Zechariah 12,
2 to 3. Let's see if I can find it quickly. Is that? No, that's not. What's it called? We've got 4 minutes. Okay. What is the next one after that? Come on, students. How much? David. Okay. There's also obviously Aaron, Pinchas, all of that. Let's talk about the main ones. You have David. And this is 2:7. 2 Samuel 7. Yeah. Now, if we go there quickly, do some speed reading, because I want to finish off with something. Let's go 2 Samuel 7, verse 8. Therefore, say this to my servant David, that this is what Adonai Tzava'ot says. I took you from the sheepyards, from following the sheep, to make you chief over my people, over Israel. I've been with you wherever you went. I destroyed all your enemies ahead of you, and I'm making your reputation great, like the reputations of the greatest people on earth. I will assign a place to my people Israel. I will plant them there, so that they can live in their own place without being disturbed anymore. The wicked will no longer oppress them as they did at the beginning, and as they did from the time I ordered judges to be over my people Israel. Instead, I will give you rest from all your enemies. Moreover, Adonai tells you that Adonai will make you a house. He's talking to David. What is he saying? You're going to make him a house. This is the son, by the way. What is he saying? He's going to make David a house. Is he going to build him a house? Yes. The Davidic dynasty. Through David, everything will happen. This as in the Davidic dynasty. Through his seed will come the king. Okay? Who was that? When your days come to an end and you sleep with your ancestors, I will establish one of your descendants to succeed you. So it's always helpful to carry on reading. Kind of tells you. One of your own flesh and blood, and I will set up his rulership. He will build a house for my name. So here he's obviously talking about Yeshua and Solomon at the same time. I will build a house, he will build a house for my name. So here we're talking about the temple. The house. Okay? I will establish one of your descendants to send to you. He will build a house for my name, and I will establish his royal throne forever. I will be a father for him, and he will be a son for me. If he does something wrong, I'll punish him with a rod and blows, just as everyone gets punished. Nevertheless, my grace will not leave him, as I took it away from Shaul, whom I removed from before you. Thus, your house and your kingdom will be made secure. Again, covenant speaks, security. Secure forever before you. Your throne will be set up forever. Enter you guys. 1 Corinthians 6 verse 19 speaks about you being the temple. You are a temple. What does that mean? Your new covenant. We're going to end at David. New covenant literally speaks of you being the temple.
Because we are adopted sons and daughters.
We're going to get to all of the grafting in and all of that. But I needed to paint a picture with you guys today that we have covenants prior to the new covenant or renewed covenant. We're going to look at that. Okay? And one does not cancel each other out. How do we know that for sure? How do we know that one doesn't cancel one out? Because it's nice that I say that.
Paul mentions it in Galatians.
Yes? Yes. Yeah?
Wouldn't it be that the sun would disappear if it was cancelled? Like there's still a rainbow in the sky today.
It's a good point, yes. But if we go back to scripture, like Uncle Conrad said, Galatians 3, verse
17 or 15.
right. Let's read that, shall we? Don't take my word for it. As my marker. She wrote it down here. Okay. So I don't want to use my translation, it's very biased, to Hebrews. I want to use NIV.
It says here, brothers and sisters, let me take an example from everyday life. Just as no one can set aside or add to a human covenant that has been duly established, so it is in this case. The promises were spoken to Abraham and to his seed. Scripture does not say and to seeds, meaning many people, but and to your seed, meaning one person who is Christ. So it's alluding to Yeshua here. What I mean is this: the law, Torah, introduced 430 years later, does not set aside the covenant previously established by God and thus do away with the promise. Scripture is very clear. One covenant does not nullify another.
There's another one in Deuteronomy 4, verse 31. It says, he will not forsake you, nor destroy you, nor forget the covenants of your fathers which he swore to them.
Right. Guys, it's also kind of in the actual text. It's an everlasting covenant. Is God the same yesterday, today, and tomorrow? Does God's word change? No. So if he said it's an everlasting covenant, it's an everlasting covenant. It's all good and well that this was made to everyone, and these, a lot of people argue, was made to just the Jewish people. No. What did Paul say in Romans 11? That we are? Romans 11, right? Got that right. Romans 11, we're grafted in. We are the wild olive branch. We are. Okay? We are grafted in to the tree that has the root system of what? Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. This is the foundation, guys. When Paul is mentioning that, he's saying we are a wild olive tree grafted into the thing that has a foundation laid out a long time ago. And he later says in Galatians, one covenant does not nullify another covenant. So he's going to bring about a covenant in the New Testament. What does testament mean? Quickly. It actually goes back to covenant. They were confused when they named Old Testament, New Testament. The New Covenant is an Old Testament thing. If you go back to New Covenant, you're going back into Jeremiah, you're going back into Ezekiel. And Hebrews 8 just references that. Literally. Jeremiah 31, Ezekiel 36. Huh? Yeah. Right? But the point that I'm making is that the New Covenant existed in Old Testament. A lot of people want to say Old Testament is old, New Testament is new, let's go with New Testament. Paul tells us otherwise. Paul is literally saying if you want to be grafted in, you need the foundation of what you're grafted into. Let me put it to you this way. Here's the tree, here's the roots. He's saying this is Abe, Isaac, and Jacob. Okay? All the promises there. You are grafted in here. Yeah. Where do you draw your nutrients from? From the root. The root sustains you. He says that. You do not sustain the root. You can't now go put your teaching in there. Last time I checked, that's a parasite. You pull those off the tree. Okay? Your nutrients, the provision comes from the foundation. So Paul was saying, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
Ephraim, on Genesis 48:19, you become the fullness of the Gentiles. All mentions in Romans 11:25.
We are grafted in, regardless. If you believe, that's great. Faith, it's what you need. It's what saves you. But faith cannot be something without obedience. And if we have this, all these covenants as our foundation, don't you think we should start looking what those stipulations are? The new covenant obviously takes away some of the consequences, but the point is that the blessings, the promises are still there.
So that's where the new heart comes in, because people were just doing the sign, they weren't doing the faith parts. And then that's where they needed, because they had stony hearts.
Right.
So that's where God saw what Messiah was to be. He knew that people needed
Because God found fault somewhere, and we're going to get into that. But I want to point out, last thing. When they mucked up here, 40 days after the covenant, what happened? We have this whole marriage ceremony with God, 40 days after, golden calf. Adultery on the wedding night, basically. Covenant, broken. Moses goes back up. New covenant, okay, let's try this again. But when that one was broken, we fell back on the covenant with Abraham. Still be blessed, still be protected. Everyone will still be blessed. He falls back on that. That's our safety net, so to speak. Okay? But our hearts need to be right. We need to have that relationship with God. And God promised us He's going to send someone through the Davidic covenant. And that's what we're going to get to next Saturday. Any questions? Great.
Moses broke all 10 commandments at once.